Breaking news. The world is falling apart. Hospitals? Empty. Billion-dollar businesses? Crashing. Flights? Cancel. An entire workforce gone. And no one knows why until now. What if Filipinos disappeared overnight? The answer will shock you. Stay till the end, because country one will leave you speechless. Do Filipinos get the respect they deserve? Tell us in the comments. If you're watching but haven't subscribed, now's the time. Hit subscribe and stay ahead. Let's be real, Canada would struggle to function without Filipinos. Walk into a hospital, a senior care home, or even a corporate office, and guess who's keeping everything running? Filipinos. The backbone of Canadian healthcare. Canada is running out of healthcare workers, and it's Filipinos who are stepping in to fill the gap. Over 30% of Canada's entire caregiving industry is Filipino. They're the ones taking care of the elderly, the sick, and even newborns while barely getting the recognition they deserve. But Filipinos aren't just keeping things afloat, they're taking over. Ana Delgado arrived in Canada with just a suitcase. Now, she owns a real estate firm worth millions. Mark Santos started out as a grocery clerk. Today, he's running a logistics company, creating hundreds of jobs. Filipinos are no longer just workers, they're industry leaders. From business and real estate to finance and tech, they're making waves. And yet, how often do we hear about their contributions? That's the real question. Is Canada truly giving Filipinos the recognition and opportunities they deserve? Should Filipino workers get higher wages, more leadership roles, more respect? Let's settle this in the comments. And don't even think about clicking away, because the next country on this list, it's going to leave you speechless. Smash that like button and stick around. Things are about to get even crazier. Alright, picture this. It's a typical Monday morning in London. You're rushing to your GP appointment, dodging the ever-present drizzle, and silently cursing the tube delays. You finally arrive, only to be greeted by a warm smile and a calming presence. Your nurse, Maria. She's been your go-to for years, always there with a reassuring word, and let's be honest, the gentlest needle touch you've ever experienced. But here's a thought that might jolt you more than your morning espresso. What if Maria and thousands like her weren't there? What if overnight the Filipino workforce vanished from the NHS? Spoiler alert, it wouldn't be pretty. Let's drop some truth bombs. As of 2023, over 35,000 Filipino nurses are registered with the UK's Nursing and Midwifery Council. In total, more than 40,000 Filipino healthcare professionals are working tirelessly across the NHS. That's not just a drop in the bucket, that's a significant portion of the lifeblood keeping the UK's healthcare system pumping. Imagine this scenario. It's flu season, because when is it not? And hospitals are bursting at the seams. Now, subtract over 40,000 healthcare professionals from the equation, wards are understaffed, waiting times skyrocket, and that life-saving care, it's now on an indefinite delay. The NHS, already stretched thin, would be teetering on the edge of collapse. Nina left her family in Manila to work in the UK, driven by the promise of better opportunities and the chance to make a difference. She works 12-hour shifts, often going beyond the call of duty to comfort patients who haven't seen their own families in weeks. Despite her unwavering dedication, Nina faces challenges. Financial strain. With the rising cost of living, even a 5.5% pay increase feels like a drop in the ocean. Housing woes. Affording a one-bedroom flat on an NHS salary? In many parts of England, that's a pipe dream. It's time for some real talk. Recognition. Filipino healthcare workers aren't just helping out. They're integral to the NHS's survival. Support beyond applause and accolades, tangible support, better pay, improved working conditions, and affordable housing is crucial. Ethical recruitment, relying heavily on staff from countries with their own healthcare shortages, raises moral questions. Shouldn't the UK invest more in training and retaining its own healthcare professionals? So what do you think? Are we doing enough to support our Filipino NHS heroes? Is it fair to rely so heavily on overseas staff to prop up our healthcare system? Drop your thoughts in the comments, let's get this conversation started. And hey, if you found this eye-opening, smash that like button. Better yet, hit subscribe and ring that notification bell. We've got more deep dives coming your way, and trust me, you won't want to miss what's next. Stay tuned, stay informed, and let's keep the dialogue going. What if I told you that Saudi Arabia, one of the richest nations on earth, would collapse without Filipinos? From futuristic cities to world-class hospitals, Filipinos have shaped Saudi Arabia's modern landscape. Yet, their contributions remain largely ignored. Imagine waking up tomorrow to find that every Filipino worker in Saudi Arabia vanished overnight. Construction stops. Hospitals collapse. Key industries grind to a halt. Despite playing a critical role in Saudi Arabia's success, how often do you hear Filipinos getting the credit they deserve? Stay with me, because by the end of this, you'll never see Saudi Arabia the same way again. Saudi Arabia's rapid expansion is built on mega projects like NEOM, the Riyadh Metro, and King Abdullah Financial District. But here's what most people don't realize. Filipino engineers, architects, and laborers are behind these massive developments. Without them, skyscrapers remain unfinished, roads unpaved, and progress halts. In the healthcare sector, Filipino nurses and doctors keep Saudi hospitals running. When the world was in crisis during the pandemic, many Filipino healthcare workers stayed behind, working overtime to save lives. And yet, their sacrifices often go unnoticed. Meet Manuel, a Filipino civil engineer who worked tirelessly on one of Saudi Arabia's newest airports. He spent months perfecting designs, ensuring every safety standard was met. Then, at the grand opening, officials took credit, cameras flashed, and executives celebrated. Manuel, nowhere in sight. His work, like thousands of other Filipinos, remained invisible. Saudi Arabia thrives because of Filipino labor and expertise. They aren't just workers, they are the silent force behind a booming economy. But the real question is, why aren't they getting the recognition they deserve? Comment your thoughts below. Should Saudi Arabia do more to acknowledge Filipino workers? Let's talk. And don't go anywhere, because the country at number 5 will leave you absolutely speechless. Stay tuned. Jake, an Australian businessman, was in a rush. His office building was under construction, his elderly father needed a nurse, and his wife's new restaurant was opening soon. Little did he know, Filipinos were behind every part of his life. The construction crew building his office, mostly Filipinos. The nurse caring for his father, the hard-working Filipina. The chefs and staff running his wife's restaurant, you guessed it, Filipinos. One day, Jake finally asked, where would Australia be without Filipinos? And the answer shocked him. The Filipinos run Australia's economy, but no one talks about it. Australia is one of the world's most advanced countries, but behind the scenes, Filipinos are the invisible force keeping everything moving. Over 92,000 Filipinos work in Australia's healthcare, construction, and hospitality sectors. They contribute billions to the economy, but rarely get the recognition they deserve. And here's the craziest part. More and more Filipinos are becoming CEOs, politicians, and business owners. But let's be real, how often do you see their success stories in the news? Rafael came to Australia with nothing but a dream. He started as a construction worker, but through sheer determination, he earned his certifications and launched his own construction company. Today, Rafael employs dozens of workers, many of them Filipinos, building the very cities they once struggled to enter. Yet, despite all this, Filipinos in Australia remain overlooked. It's time to speak up. Are Filipinos getting the recognition they deserve in Australia? Should they start demanding more respect and leadership positions? Comment below. Let's make this conversation loud. Smash that like button if you think Filipinos deserve more credit. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Join our growing community and never miss a deep dive like this. And don't go anywhere, because the country at number 3 will leave you absolutely speechless. Stay tuned. When people think of Filipinos in Hong Kong, they often picture domestic workers. But what if I told you they're running the economy? For decades, Filipinos in Hong Kong have been seen primarily as household workers. But behind the scenes, they are powering billion-dollar industries in ways few people recognize. From finance to retail, technology to hospitality, Filipinos are not just supporting Hong Kong's economy, they're shaping it. Now, here's the game-changing shift happening right now. More Filipinos than ever are climbing the corporate ladder, launching businesses, and even taking leadership roles in major companies. Imagine this. If every Filipino worker in Hong Kong suddenly disappeared, the city's economy wouldn't just slow down, it would be in chaos. The pillars of Hong Kong's economy, Filipinos at the core. Finance and banking. Hong Kong is a global financial hub. But did you know that many Filipinos work in banking, investment firms, and accounting? They manage wealth, handle critical transactions, and keep financial institutions running smoothly. Corporate and retail Filipino professionals are leading operations in some of Hong Kong's biggest corporations. They work in marketing, management, logistics, and human resources, essentially keeping the business world turning. Hospitality and tourism. With Hong Kong attracting millions of tourists, Filipinos make up a significant percentage of the hospitality workforce, running hotels, managing travel agencies, and ensuring customer service excellence. Entrepreneurship boom. Here's the biggest shift. More Filipinos are breaking free from traditional roles and starting their own businesses in Hong Kong. From tech startups to retail brands, they are proving that Filipinos aren't just workers, they're leaders, innovators, and industry changers. Meet Daniel, a Filipino who arrived in Hong Kong as an office assistant. For years, he worked tirelessly, often taking night classes to sharpen his skills. One day, his boss left the company and Daniel was unexpectedly offered a managerial role. Fast forward 5 years, and today, Daniel is the CEO of his own consulting firm. He employs fellow Filipinos, proving that with grit and determination, Filipinos aren't just surviving in Hong Kong, they're thriving. Filipinos aren't just contributing to Hong Kong's economy, they're shaping its future. But here's the real question. Should Filipinos start dominating even bigger industries? Drop your take in the comments, let's start the conversation. And don't miss out because the next country on this list will blow your mind. Stay tuned. Imagine this, you're walking through Singapore's Marina Bay Financial Center, surrounded by gleaming skyscrapers, billion-dollar deals happening behind glass walls, and high-powered executives discussing the next big investment. Now here's the twist. Many of those executives, Filipinos. That's right, the same hardworking spirit that built Saudi Arabia, powered Australia, and saved the UK's NHS, it's now shaping one of the world's most powerful financial hubs. Did you know Filipinos make up a significant portion of Singapore's workforce, especially in banking, business outsourcing, and technology? From financial analysts at DBS Bank to IT specialists at Google Singapore, they're not just employees, they're decision makers. Daniel started as an entry-level analyst at a major bank. Fast forward 10 years and he's now leading financial strategies for a Fortune 500 company, making million-dollar decisions daily. And it's not just individuals. Filipino-led companies are thriving in Singapore's fintech and outsourcing sectors, proving that Filipinos are more than just workers, they're game changers in the business world. With more Filipinos climbing the corporate ladder and setting up businesses, it's time to ask, are Filipinos on track to dominate Singapore's financial industry? And if they are, what does this mean for Singapore, for Filipinos worldwide? Drop your thoughts in the comments, let's debate. If this blew your mind, hit that like button, and if you're not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? More mind-blowing stories are coming your way. Japan is running out of people faster than anyone expected. Right now, almost 30% of Japan's population is over 65, millions of elderly citizens needing daily care, but with not enough young Japanese workers to do the job. This isn't a problem for the future, it's happening right now. And the ones keeping Japan from a full-blown elderly care disaster? Filipinos, thousands of them. Filipino caregivers have become the backbone of Japan's healthcare system. Many elderly Japanese, like 78-year-old Mr. Nakamura, rely completely on Filipino caregivers. No children, no relatives, no one except the Filipino nurse who takes care of him every day. Without them, Japan's aging population would be left stranded. But Filipinos in Japan aren't just caregivers. They're taking over other industries too. They're engineers building Japan's mega infrastructure. They're IT specialists keeping Japan's tech industry running. They're entertainers winning over Japanese audiences. Filipinos are everywhere in Japan's workforce, filling the gaps left by a shrinking local population. The big question now is, Japan needs Filipinos more than ever, but are they giving them the recognition and support they deserve? Should Japan increase salaries, grant permanent residency, or even offer citizenship to the workforce that's keeping their country alive? Let's debate. Drop your thoughts in the comments, and before you go, smash that like button because the next country on our list, it's even more shocking. Picture this. You step into a luxurious 5-star hotel in Dubai. The scent of fresh orchids fills the air, a perfectly dressed concierge welcomes you with a warm smile, and everything runs like clockwork. But behind the glitz and glamour of the UAE's world-class hospitality industry, Filipinos are running the show. Filipinos aren't just working in Dubai's iconic hotels and airlines, they're leading them. Whether it's the top chefs designing extravagant menus, luxury brand managers making million-dollar deals, or flight attendants delivering the best airline service in the world, Filipinos are the backbone of it all. And let's talk about the food scene. Some of the most exclusive Michelin star restaurants in the UAE have Filipino chefs crafting culinary masterpieces. Filipino professionals aren't just working in hospitality, they're shaping the industry. But it doesn't stop there. Filipinos are making major moves in real estate, business, and even luxury investments. More Filipinos than ever are now investing in high-end properties, starting businesses, and becoming decision makers in industries once dominated by Western and Middle Eastern elites. The tides are turning. Yet, here's the real question. Are Filipinos getting the leadership roles they deserve? With so many contributing to the success of the UAE's economy, shouldn't more Filipinos be taking the top seats at the table? What do you think? Should the UAE start putting more Filipinos in positions of power? Sound off in the comments, and if you haven't already, smash that like button and subscribe. Oh, and stick around because up next we're diving into a country where Filipinos aren't just thriving, they're taking over industries in ways you won't believe. Stay with me. What happens when a country depends on a workforce they don't even acknowledge? New Zealand is known for its stunning landscapes, booming agriculture, and world-class cities. But beneath the surface, there's an invisible workforce holding it all together. Tens of thousands of Filipinos are the backbone of New Zealand's agriculture, healthcare, and construction industries. They are the ones keeping the farms running, the hospitals staffed, and the cities growing. But here's the shocking part. Most people have no idea just how critical they are. Now imagine if they all disappeared overnight. The dairy industry shuts down. New Zealand is one of the world's largest dairy exporters. But who's doing the hard labor? Over 6,000 Filipino dairy workers. If they left, production would collapse, milk prices would soar, and billions would be lost. Hospitals would be overwhelmed. Filipino nurses and caregivers are a huge part of New Zealand's healthcare system. With ongoing staff shortages, losing Filipino workers would cripple hospitals, aged care homes, and emergency services. Patients would be left waiting, and some wouldn't get the care they desperately need. Construction comes to a halt. New Zealand cities are expanding fast, but who's actually building them? More than 15,000 Filipinos work in construction, handling everything from roads to skyscrapers. Without them, development stalls instantly. Let me introduce you to Leo, a Filipino nurse in Auckland. For years, he's been working double shifts in a hospital that's constantly short-staffed. During the pandemic, when others were quitting due to exhaustion, Leo stayed because he knew his patients needed him. One night, after a grueling 16-hour shift, he got a call from his supervisor. "Leo, we need you back. We're out of nurses in the ICU." He barely slept, but he returned anyway. Why? Because if he didn't, who would? Leo isn't alone. Thousands of Filipinos like him are keeping New Zealand's healthcare system alive. But despite their sacrifices, many of them struggle with visa issues, unfair wages, and a lack of recognition. Filipinos don't just fill job shortages, they bring hard work, skill, and dedication that New Zealand's economy can't survive without. And yet, how often are their efforts truly recognized? This raises a serious question. If a country can't function without you, shouldn't they acknowledge you? Are Filipinos the unsung heroes of New Zealand? Do they get the respect they deserve? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk about it. And don't go anywhere, because country number 1 on this list will leave you absolutely speechless. Stay tuned. Be honest, if every Filipino nurse in America walked out tomorrow, how long do you think hospitals would last? A day? Maybe a week? The US healthcare system would collapse, and that's not even an exaggeration. Over 355,000 Filipino nurses are keeping American hospitals running. That's more than any other immigrant group in the industry. They're not just clocking in for shifts, they're literally saving lives every single day. Take Angela Ramirez. She left the Philippines 20 years ago with nothing but a nursing degree and a dream. Today, she's the head of an entire hospital department in New York City. That's the kind of impact Filipinos are making, not just as workers, but as leaders in medicine, business, and beyond. Filipinos aren't just in hospitals, they're running businesses, managing multi-million-dollar corporations, and even holding government positions. But here's the real question. Does America truly appreciate them? Despite their massive contributions, many Filipino workers face unfair wages, visa struggles, and a lack of recognition. Imagine dedicating your life to a country only to be undervalued. That's the reality for thousands of Filipinos who've built their careers in the US. Should the US do more to support its Filipino workforce? Do they deserve better pay, more rights, more leadership roles? Let's talk about it in the comments. And don't even think about clicking away, because there's still more to uncover, and trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and let's keep this discussion going. And here's the craziest part. Some of these same countries are now begging Filipinos to stay. But why? And what's really happening behind the scenes? Watch this next video to find out the truth they don't want you to know.